The night sky above the broken outpost was filled with 2 moons and 1,000 stars. The human soldier sat alone near the ruined walls, listening to the silence that pressed around him. His ship had crashed far away, his chums were dead, and no rescue would come for days. The air smelled of iron and smoke, the remains of battles long forgotten. He thought he was alone. But then, he saw her. She stepped out from the shadows like a ghost. Her skin had a faint glow, almost silver under the moons. Her long dark hair moved as if touched by a breeze that wasn't there. Her eyes bright, alien, and alive locked on him. For a moment, he couldn't breathe. The human froze, one hand reaching for his weapon. She didn't move closer, but she didn't back away either. Instead, she tilted her head, watching him with a strange, calm interest. "You are far from home, human," she said softly. Her voice carried an accent, sharp and smooth at the same time. He lowered his weapon slowly. "And you're not supposed to be here either, are you?" Her lips curved into something that was not quite a smile. Perhaps. They stood in silence for long moments, the tension heavy between them. He didn't know why, but his heart was beating faster. Something about her unsettled him. She looked dangerous, but also lonely. Finally, he asked, "Are you going to kill me?" She raised one eyebrow. "Do you want me to?" The human gave a small laugh, though his throat was dry. "Not really." Something flickered in her eyes, something almost human. She stepped closer, her movements smooth and graceful, as if she were gliding over the ground. He felt her presence like heat against his skin. They were strangers, enemies by birth, but in that moment, it felt different. There was no battle here, no orders, no chains of war. Just 2 beings, staring at each other in the night. The soldier's thoughts twisted with questions he had never dared to ask. What did these aliens feel? Did they laugh? Did they cry? Could they love? The thought came uninvited. It burned in his chest before he could stop it. And then the words slipped from his lips before his brain could catch them. "If I kissed you," he said quietly, his voice trembling with equal parts fear and courage, "how would you react?" The alien woman froze. Her eyes widened, glowing brighter under the moonlight. For the first time, her calm mask cracked. She looked at him as if he had spoken forbidden words, as if no human had ever dared to ask her that question before. For a heartbeat, the world stood still. The soldier's own breath caught in his throat. "Idiot," he thought. "Why would you say that?" But it was too late. The question was out. Hanging in the air, unforgettable. The alien woman's chest rose and fell slowly. She took a single step closer. Now he could see every detail of her face, the sharp lines, the soft curve of her lips, the strange glow in her eyes. He could smell a faint scent around her, like wild flowers mixed with cold rain. She leaned close enough that he could feel the warmth of her skin. Her voice was almost a whisper, but every word struck deep. "If you kissed me," she said, pausing as if tasting the words for the first time, "I would not push you away." The soldier's heart thudded painfully in his chest. He didn't know what he had expected: anger, laughter, maybe even violence. But this answer sent a shiver down his spine. Her gaze softened, but there was fire inside it. "But if you kissed me," she continued, "you must also be ready for what comes after. Because one kiss may change more than you know." He swallowed hard. His mind spun. What did she mean? What could one kiss possibly change? The alien woman took another step back, her expression unreadable again. The silence stretched between them, heavy, dangerous, charged with something he could not name. He opened his mouth to ask, but before he could speak, a sharp sound cut through the night, a distant echo. Boots striking against broken stone. The woman's head snapped toward the sound. Her glowing eyes narrowed. "They are coming," the soldier stiffened. "Who?" Her answer was short, almost like a warning. "The ones who must not find you." She turned back to him, her face inches from his. For a second, he saw real fear in her eyes. Then she whispered again, just loud enough for him to hear, "Remember my answer. Because you may need it soon." And with that, she pulled him into the shadows, just as the sound of approaching soldiers grew louder in the distance. Asterisk. The human soldier's boots scraped against the stone as the alien woman pulled him into the narrow tunnel beneath the ruins. The walls were damp, carved long ago, and the air was heavy with dust. She moved fast, her glowing eyes guiding the way in the dark. "Keep quiet," she whispered. "If they hear you, we are both dead." He swallowed hard and followed, his heartbeat louder than his steps. The echo of soldiers' voices drifted faintly from above. They were searching. Every sound sent a chill crawling down his spine. Finally, after what felt like forever, they stopped. The tunnel opened into a small chamber, lit only by the silver glow of her skin. She turned to him, her expression calm again, but her breathing still heavy. "You are reckless," she said, her voice low. He frowned. "For asking you a question? Or for trusting you?" Her lips curved slightly, almost like a smile. "Both." The soldier leaned against the cold wall, trying to slow his racing heart. He looked at her closely now. The way her eyes glowed brighter when she was upset. The way her hands trembled slightly, even when she tried to hide it. She wasn't just some perfect warrior. She was alive, real, and strangely vulnerable. "Why are you helping me?" he asked. "You don't even know me." "I'm just a human." Her gaze locked on him, sharp and unblinking. "That is exactly why," he blinked. "What does that mean?" The alien woman stepped closer, her presence filling the chamber like heat from a fire. "You're kind. You change things. You walk into worlds that are not yours, and nothing is the same after you leave." He shook his head. "That sounds more like a warning than a compliment." "Perhaps it is both," she said softly. For a long moment, they just stood there. The silence stretched, heavy but not empty. Something unspoken grew between them, stronger than the fear of being hunted. Finally, he broke it. "So, if I really kissed you back there, would you have let me?" Her eyes narrowed, glowing brighter in the dark. "Do you want me to answer truthfully?" "Yes." She leaned closer, her voice a whisper only he could hear. "No human has ever touched one of my kind in that way. It is forbidden. If I allowed it, I would not only betray my people, I would betray myself." His chest tightened. "Then why didn't you say no?" Her lips parted, and for the first time, her calm mask fell completely. He saw something raw in her eyes, something she had hidden carefully until now. "Because," she breathed, "I wanted to know." The soldier's throat went dry. "Know what?" "What it feels like," she whispered. "To break the chain. To let a human close. To feel something I should not feel." The weight of her words pressed against him like a storm. He had never imagined that his reckless question could cut this deep. "You're saying—" He hesitated. "You want me to kiss you?" She turned away, her hair falling across her glowing skin like a curtain. "I am saying I fear that I do." His chest pounded harder than before. This wasn't just attraction. It was dangerous, deadly. One kiss could brand her as a traitor, and him as a marked man. Yet he could see it in her eyes. She wanted it, even if she could not admit it fully. The silence cracked as distant footsteps echoed again through the tunnels. She stiffened, every muscle tense. "They are getting closer," she said sharply. "We must move." He touched her arm without thinking, and she froze. The contact was small, just his hand on her skin, but her breath caught. Her eyes flicked down at his fingers before meeting his gaze again. "You should not do that," she whispered. "Why?" Her lips trembled. "Because I might not be able to let go." The soldier felt something strange in that moment, stronger than fear, stronger than desire. A bond. Something neither of them could explain, but both could feel. The sound of soldiers shouting pulled them back to reality. The alien woman grabbed his hand, this time without hesitation. "Come. If they find us, it will not matter what you asked me. We will both die." They ran deeper into the tunnel, hand in hand, their breaths echoing in the dark. The human could not stop thinking about her words, about the forbidden fire burning behind her calm face, and as they disappeared into the shadows, he knew one thing for certain: whatever happened next, the question he had asked was no longer just a question. It was the beginning of something neither of them could escape. The tunnel grew narrower as the human and the alien woman pushed deeper into the earth. Their footsteps echoed faintly, and every sound felt too loud. The soldier's hand brushed the cold walls, searching for balance, while her glowing eyes lit the way like two small flames in the dark. The silence between them was heavy. Not empty, not calm, heavy, like a rope pulled tight. He wanted to speak, but the fear of being overheard kept his mouth shut. Then the voices came, distant at first, carried down the stone passages like whispers. The sound of armored boots. The alien soldiers were hunting. Their language was harsh, filled with clipped tones and sharp edges. The woman stiffened, her hand tightening on his wrist. "They are closer than I thought," she whispered, her voice barely a breath. "We cannot outrun them here." The soldier's chest tightened. "Then what do we do?" Her eyes met his. Cold fire burned in them. "We hide. And we wait." She led him into a side passage, barely wide enough for the two of them. The walls pressed against their shoulders, forcing them too close. He could feel the warmth of her skin, smell the faint rain and flower scent that clung to her. They crouched together in the shadows, the woman pressing a finger to her lips. The footsteps grew louder, louder, echoes bouncing everywhere. Impossible to tell which way the hunters were coming. The soldier held his breath. Every muscle screamed at him to run, but he didn't move. He didn't dare. The sound of armor scraping stone passed only a few steps away. He saw shadows moving on the far wall of the passage. Voices barked commands. One of the soldiers stopped, his boots halting right outside their hiding place. The soldier's heart pounded so hard he thought it might give them away. He risked a glance at her face. The alien woman looked calm, but her glowing eyes betrayed something else: fear. The enemy soldier sniffed the air, then slowly turned his head toward their passage. The glow of his helmet lights swept dangerously close. The human thought, "This is it. We're caught." Without warning, the alien woman shifted. She pressed her body against his, covering him, shielding him in the shadows of her glow. Her lips brushed dangerously close to his ear as she whispered, "Do not move." Her warmth against him was almost unbearable. He felt her heartbeat racing, her chest rising and falling against his own. It was impossible to think. The danger was inches away, yet his mind was filled with the memory of her words from before. "If you kissed me, I would not push you away." The enemy soldier lingered. Seconds stretched into eternity. Finally, another voice barked something sharp, and the soldier outside moved on. The footsteps grew distant again, swallowed by the tunnels. Only then did she ease back, her glowing eyes staring into his with an intensity that left him speechless. "You almost gave us away," she whispered. "I didn't even move," he whispered back. "You don't need to move," she said. "Your heart is too loud." He gave a shaky laugh, then stopped when her expression remained serious. She wasn't joking. She turned her head slightly, listening. The voices were fading, moving further down the tunnels. But she didn't relax. Her hand remained tight on his wrist. "They will circle back," she said. "They always do. Why are they hunting me?" He asked. Her eyes softened for just a moment. "Not only you. Me too. I was never meant to help a human. Now in their eyes I am already a traitor." The words cut deep. He realized then she had risked everything, not only her safety, but her honor, her place among her people, just to stand here with him. The soldier swallowed hard. "Why risk it? You could have walked away." her gaze locked on his, fierce and unyielding. "Because when you asked me that question, I could not walk away anymore." His chest tightened. That one reckless question about a kiss had changed everything. Before he could speak again, the sound of shifting stone made them both freeze. The tunnel wall behind them trembled. A faint light began to seep through a hidden crack. The alien woman's face turned pale. "No," she whispered. "They found another way in." The soldier stiffened, hand moving toward his weapon, but she grabbed his wrist. "No weapons. Not yet. If you fight now, we both die." The crack widened, dust raining down. Voices came closer. Shadows flickered across the walls. The woman leaned close, her lips almost brushing his ear again. "Stay behind me. Whatever happens, do not speak." The wall split open with a crash, and armored figures poured into the chamber. Their helmets glowed red, their weapons gleaming. The alien woman stepped forward, her body blocking the human completely. Her glowing eyes met theirs, cold and defiant. The enemy leader raised his weapon. "Traitor," he hissed in their tongue. The chamber filled with deadly silence. The chamber was thick with silence. The alien soldiers stood in a half-circle, their red helmet lights cutting through the dust. Their leader stepped forward, his weapon raised. The human soldier held his breath. One wrong move, and this was the end. The alien woman stood tall in front of him, her glowing eyes locked on the leader. "You do not want to fire here," she said coldly in her own language. "The tunnels are unstable. One blast will bury us all." The soldiers hesitated. The leader tilted his head, considering. Dust fell from the ceiling, proof that her words were true. The human could barely see around her, but he felt the tension in the air. He knew she was bluffing, but she did it so well he almost believed her. The leader lowered his weapon slightly but sneered. "You are still a traitor, hiding a human. You shame your bloodline." Her jaw tightened. Better a traitor with a beating heart than a loyal corpse. Before the soldiers could react, she moved. She grabbed the human's hand and yanked him toward a narrow passage to the right. The ceiling groaned as she kicked a loose stone, sending a shower of rocks crashing down to block the chamber. Shouts erupted behind them, followed by the crack of weapons firing. The tunnel shook. Dust filled the air. "Run!" she shouted. They sprinted through the twisting passage, the walls closing around them. The human stumbled, his lungs burning, but she pulled him forward with a strength that didn't seem possible for her slender frame. The sound of pursuit grew louder behind them, boots pounding, voices echoing. The passage opened into a wide cavern. Stalactites hung from the ceiling like teeth, and water dripped from above into a shallow pool. The air was damp and cold. The woman stopped, scanning the cavern. Her glowing eyes flickered as if searching for something. "Where now?" the human asked, gasping. She pointed toward a dark crack in the far wall. "There, it leads outside. But it will not stay open for long." They rushed across the cavern, but the sound of soldiers closing in echoed behind them. "Too late," the human muttered. The woman turned sharply, her eyes blazing. "Not yet." She raised her hand to the pool of water, and for the first time, he saw it power. The water rippled unnaturally, glowing faintly with her touch. The surface rose like a living thing, spreading mist across the cavern. The soldiers burst into the chamber, their lights cutting through the fog. They shouted, weapons raised. But the mist thickened, hiding everything, twisting the light until it bent. The human stumbled, coughing, unable to see. But her hand never let go of his. "This way," she whispered. They slipped through the mist toward the crack in the wall. The human risked a glance back. The soldiers fired blindly into the fog, but their shots struck only stone. By the time the mist faded, the chamber was empty. The human and the alien woman squeezed through the narrow crack, scraping against jagged stone until suddenly cold night air hit his face. Stars stretched above them, brighter and clearer than he had ever seen. They had escaped the tunnels. The woman leaned against the rock, her chest rising and falling, her glow dimmer than before. The power she had used had drained her. You can control water? He asked, still trying to catch his breath. She nodded weakly. Only a little. Enough to hide us. Not enough to fight them all. He stared at her. She had saved him again, risking her life and exposing her secret. Why do this? He asked. Why risk everything for me? She turned her head slowly, her glowing eyes meeting his. There was no calm mask this time, no walls between them. Only truth, because, she whispered, you are different. When you asked me that question, you did not see me as a soldier, or a tool, or a monster. You saw me as something else. And no one has ever done that before. The human's chest tightened. He wanted to say something, but words felt too small. Instead, he stepped closer. Their faces were inches apart. The memory of his question hung between them, stronger than ever. If I kissed you now, he began. She stopped him with a raised hand, her eyes trembling. Don't, not yet. Why not? Her voice broke with quiet fear. Because one kiss will make me choose. And once I choose, there is no going back. Before he could answer, the sound of distant shouts carried on the night air. The soldiers had found their trail again. The woman straightened, her glow brightening slightly. She grabbed his hand. No more questions. We must keep moving. The human nodded, but as they ran into the starry night, her words echoed in his mind. One kiss will make me choose. And he couldn't stop wondering when that choice came. Would she choose her people? Or him? The night was colder now. The human soldier and the alien woman moved through a valley of broken stone, guided only by starlight. Their breaths came in clouds, and every sound seemed too sharp in the silence. Behind them, the faint echo of soldiers still carried on the wind. They were not safe. Not yet. Finally they found shelter, a cave hidden beneath an overhang of jagged rock. The entrance was narrow, just enough for them to crawl through. Inside, the space opened into a hollow chamber. The air was damp, but at least it was hidden. The alien woman sank to her knees, her glow dim, her breaths uneven. She had pushed her strength too far. You need rest, the human said softly. He set down his pack, pulling out what little he had left, half a ration bar and a small flask of water. He handed them to her. She looked at the food as if it were foreign. Humans, you always share. Even when you have nothing. He gave a small smile. Maybe that's why we survive. She ate slowly, her eyes never leaving his face. The silence between them grew heavy again, not from fear this time, but from something else. Something unspoken. Finally, she broke it. Why did you ask me that question? He blinked. What question? Her glowing eyes narrowed. You know, the memory hit him. His reckless words in the ruins. If I kissed you, how would you react? He rubbed the back of his neck. I don't know, it just came out. That is not the truth, she said firmly. Humans do not risk death for nothing. You asked because you wanted to know. He hesitated, then nodded. You're right. I wanted to know. And I still do. Her breath caught. She turned her face away, but her glow betrayed the heat rising in her chest. You should not want such things. My people see humans as weak, fragile. To touch one of us, it is forbidden. Then why didn't you say no? He asked. Her head lowered. For the first time, her voice trembled. Because I am tired of what is forbidden. The cave went silent. The soldier felt his heartbeat pounding louder than the wind outside. He moved closer, slow, careful. She didn't pull away. She didn't even look at him, but her hands clenched against the stone floor. Tell me the truth, he said quietly. Do you want me to? She lifted her face, her glowing eyes wide, raw, unguarded. Yes, she whispered. That was all he needed. The soldier leaned in, closing the small space between them. His lips brushed hers gently at first, uncertain, waiting for her to pull away. But she didn't. Her body trembled against him, her lips warm, her breath sharp with shock. For a second, it was clumsy, almost fragile. Then something broke inside her, and she kissed him back, fierce, hungry, desperate, as if she had been holding this in for years. The glow of her skin flared brighter, filling the cave with soft silver light. Her hands gripped his shoulders, pulling him closer, her breath shaking when they finally broke apart. She gasped as if she had run 1,000 miles. Her eyes were wild, her glow flickering uncontrollably. What have you done to me?" she whispered. The human frowned. "What do you mean?" She pressed her hand to her chest. Her glow pulsed like a heartbeat, spreading across her skin. Her body shook as if something inside her had awakened. "I feel—" she stammered, her voice breaking. "I feel too much. It is burning. It is." Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled. The air inside the cave grew heavy, charged with invisible energy. Small stones lifted off the ground, floating for a heartbeat before crashing back down. The human stared in shock. "Is this you?" Her hands clenched against the stone floor. "Yes, the kiss. It has awakened something I cannot control." Her eyes met his, glowing brighter than ever, filled with both fear and desire. "Do you see now? One kiss, and everything changes." He reached out, gripping her trembling hand. "Then we face it together." Her breath caught. For the first time she smiled, a small, broken smile, but real. But before the moment could last, a sound shattered the silence. Boots. Voices. The soldiers had found them again, the alien woman's. Glow dimmed instantly. She pressed close to him, her face pale. "They will not let us live now. They know. They can feel it too." The soldier tightened his grip on his weapon. "Then we fight." She shook her head. "No, if I fight, they will know the truth, that I am no longer theirs. Then what do we do?" Her eyes met his, fierce, determined. "We run. But this time, not as enemies. As something else." The cave wall shook with approaching footsteps. The human raised his weapon, ready. The alien woman's glow flared again, stronger this time, fueled not by fear, but by the fire of their kiss. As the shadows of their pursuers stretched into the cave, she whispered one last warning in his ear. "Remember, you asked for this." And then the battle for their freedom began. Asterisk. The cave shook with the force of weapons firing outside. Red beams sliced through the darkness, cutting into the stone. The human soldier crouched low, weapon ready, but he knew they couldn't hold out for long. The alien woman stood tall beside him, her glow bright and alive, her breath sharp. The kiss still burned inside her, unlocking something she could no longer hide. Her people would see it instantly. She was no longer theirs. The first soldier burst into the cave. His helmet lights glared red. He raised his weapon, then froze. His eyes widened as he looked at her, his voice a hiss of disbelief. "She carries the mark." The words echoed through the cave like a curse. The others poured in, their weapons trembling, their voices angry and afraid. "She betrayed us. She chose him." The woman's chest tightened. Their words struck deep because they were true. The leader stepped forward, his armor scraping stone. He looked at her with cold fury. "Sister, you have broken the law of our blood. One kiss with a human, and you are lost to us." The human soldier gripped his weapon tighter, stepping between them. "She's not lost. She's free." The leader's eyes burned. "Silence, human. She was born to serve her people, and now she will die for betraying them." The woman raised her hand. Power rippled in the air, the glow of her skin flaring. The soldiers hesitated, but their weapons remained aimed. Her heart pounded. She could feel the human's presence behind her, steady, waiting. She could feel the fire of his kiss still alive inside her chest. And she knew if she fought, there was no way back. "Step aside," the leader barked. "Choose your blood, or choose your death." The cave went silent. Her eyes met the human's. He looked at her without fear, his voice calm but firm. "Don't do this for me. Do it for you. What do you want?" Her breath shook. All her life she had obeyed, followed, lived by rules she never made. But now one kiss had shown her something else. A world where choice was hers. She turned slowly, facing the soldiers. Her voice was steady. "I choose him." The words hit the cave like thunder. The soldiers roared with rage. The leader lifted his weapon. "Then you are nothing. You are dead." The first shot fired. The human shoved her aside, the blast cutting into the wall. Dust filled the air. He returned fire, striking one soldier down. The cave exploded in chaos. The woman's power surged, her glow blazing brighter than ever. She raised her hands, and the air itself bent. A wave of force blasted outward, throwing soldiers off their feet. The cavern shook as stones cracked and fell. The human covered his head as rubble rained down. But through it all, he heard her voice strong, fierce, alive. "No more chains." She cried. The soldiers tried to rise, but her power pressed them down, crushing the air from their lungs. The leader staggered forward, his weapon still raised, his eyes filled with hate. "You are lost to us forever." He spat, her glow flared brighter. "No, I am found." She hurled him back with a wave of light. His body slammed against the stone, his weapon clattering to the floor. The cavern fell silent except for the crackle of falling debris. The soldiers who could still move dragged their wounded leader away, their voices filled with fear. "She is cursed. She is no longer one of us." And then they were gone. The woman collapsed to her knees, her glow dimming. The human rushed to her side, catching her before she hit the ground. "You saved us," he said, his voice low. Her eyes fluttered open, weak but alive. "No, we saved us." He held her close, his chest tight. But the victory felt heavy. She had broken her people's law. She had been cast out, betrayed by her own blood. Her trembling hand touched his cheek. "I am theirs no longer. I am yours." The words sent a shiver through him. He wanted to promise safety, to tell her everything would be fine. But outside the cave, the night was still filled with danger. Her people would not stop. They would hunt her. Hunt him. He looked into her glowing eyes, fierce even in exhaustion. "Then we keep running. Together." She gave a weak smile. Yes, together. But deep in his heart, he knew what that meant. She had chosen him over everything she had ever known. And now the galaxy itself might rise against them. Still, as he held her in the shadows of the broken cave, one thought burned in his mind. He would not let her regret that choice, no matter what came next. The night stretched quiet after the battle. The cave mouth still smoked from energy blasts, and the ground trembled from the weight of what had just happened. The alien soldiers were gone, but their threats lingered in the air like a storm waiting to break. The human soldier sat against the stone wall, his chest heaving. His weapon lay heavy across his lap, but his focus wasn't on the danger outside. It was on her. The alien woman knelt beside him, her glow faint but steady now. She looked different, not only tired, not only wounded, different, freed. For a long time, neither spoke. The silence carried too much. Finally, he broke it. His voice was low, uncertain. "If I asked you again, that same question, what would you say now?" Her glowing eyes met his. She remembered the words that had started it all. "If I kissed you, how would you react?" A small smile curved her lips, sad and yet alive. "Do you really want to know?" "Yes," he said firmly. She leaned closer, her silver glow painting his face in light. Her voice was soft, trembling with truth. "This time, I would beg you not to stop." His heart skipped. Her answer cut deeper than any weapon could. He touched her hand, and she did not pull away. Instead, she laced her fingers with his, gripping him as though she feared he might vanish. "You understand what this means," she whispered. "I can never return to them. I have no home now. No people. Only this." She raised their joined hands. "Only us." The human swallowed hard. He knew the weight of her choice. She had given up everything for him, her blood, her honor, her future. "You still have me," he said. "And that's enough." Tears glimmered in her glowing eyes, but they didn't fall. Instead, she smiled small, but real. "Strange human. You make weakness feel like strength." Before he could answer, a sharp sound echoed outside. The crunch of boots on stone. Voices distant, but closing. The soldiers were back. The woman stiffened, her glow flaring brighter. "They won't stop. Not now. Not ever." The human gripped his weapon, jaw set. "Then we make them stop." She shook her head. "No, we cannot win by fighting. Not against all of them." "Then what?" he demanded. Her hand pressed against her chest, where the glow pulsed like fire. "This power, it grows stronger with you, with what we shared. One kiss changed me, but if I use it fully, I may not survive." His chest tightened. "Don't say that." Her eyes softened. "You asked me how I would react. Now you will see. Because my answer is more than words." Before he could stop her, she stood and stepped out into the night. The stars burned above as the alien soldiers surrounded the cave. Their weapons glowed red, their leader shouting curses. "There she is! The traitor! End her!" But she stood tall, her glow flaring like a living flame. The human rushed to her side, but she raised a hand, stopping him. Her voice was calm, steady. "No, this is mine." She closed her eyes, and the power inside her broke free. The air trembled, the ground split. Light poured from her skin, flooding the valley in silver fire. The soldiers staggered back, shielding their eyes. She opened them again, her glowing gaze fierce. "I am not yours anymore. I am his." The power roared outward, a wave that hurled the soldiers into the darkness. Their weapons shattered, their cries lost in the storm of light. The night shook with her defiance. And then, silence. The soldiers were gone. Scattered, broken, defeated. The woman fell to her knees, her glow flickering weakly. The human caught her before she collapsed fully, holding her close. "You did it," he whispered. Her breath came shallow. "No, we did it. I only had this power because of you." His chest tightened as he looked at her pale face. "Don't leave me. Not after everything." Her lips curved faintly, even in weakness. "You asked how I would react if you kissed me. My answer is this: I would fight the whole world for you. Even if it breaks me." Tears stung his eyes. He pressed his forehead to hers, whispering fiercely, "Then fight with me. Not alone. Never alone." Her glow flickered once more, then steadied, soft but alive. She smiled, a true smile this time. "Then kiss me again, human. And this time, don't stop." Under the silver light of 2 moons, with the ruins of battle still smoking around them, he did. And in that moment, the war, the fear, the galaxy itself faded away. There was only them, only the question. And her shocking answer,